Hey everyone. Okay, it's been forever since I've been on here to do a reading, so let's do one today. I've been sick for about a month, so you can kind of hear my voice is not like it normally is, but let's see what's coming up. I have been going through a process of massive transition, and I think the collective is feeling that. Um, where we're growing out of something, we're growing into something, but we can't see what we're growing into yet. We just feel the change, we feel the transition. For some of us, we're in a period of almost mourning where we feel a loss of what has been, but we don't see anything that's coming. And so we're in this very uncomfortable space. So if you're feeling that energy, let's see what's going to come up in the cards. Let's see what source tells us. Let's see what our guides have to say, what kind of guidance they can give us today. Okay. I'm using my tarot, or not tarot, my oracle deck. It's the Sparkle and Shine Oracle deck. I have a new deck that is off to the printer, getting its prototype shaped and formed and printed. Hopefully I'll have that in about a month. It's a love deck, which is very different for me. I've never done something like that before, but I was inspired. So we have that coming, and I'm going to be reshaping these because the size of the deck is a little hard for smaller hands. So I'm going to be rethinking the size of that deck. Anyway, more information to come, more information on my website. Okay. Guides, what do you have for the collective today? What information about the shift, about this transition? What guidance can you give us? Miracles. That's amazing. Okay. What else is coming up? Flow. That right off the bat is telling me there miracles are coming. There's miracles that are coming in, but you might not expect them. It's like sometimes we have in our head what we expect to see, what we expect to unfold. But what the universe is bringing us does not always shape up in that way. Okay. The universe has the bigger picture at hand. The universe understands what we need, what our soul needs, whereas we are operating from a standpoint of ego, of fears, of everything that we've kind of developed as we've been in this human form. And so the miracles that are coming, I just keep hearing expect the unexpected. Okay. So just keep your eyes open, keep your heart open. And this is where this flow comes in, to where you have these expectations, and they're saying you might miss it. You may not miss it. You might just not realize it for what it is. And so it's telling you to go with the flow. Okay. Don't keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Ease into the energy that you're in, as difficult as that might be, because this is some really difficult energy. I've been feeling to where I almost want to crawl out of my skin the last few days, the last couple months. So it's a very uncomfortable place to be in, but they're telling you that it's necessary to sit in that energy, to relax into that energy, to just know that what's coming is better than you could ever imagine. Okay. What else is coming up? This is very heart-centered energy that we're in. Chakra of divine knowledge. Okay, this is about the Akashic records. That's what this card is all about. With the flow card, you are being asked to hand over your expectations, because you cannot see, well, some people can access their Akashic records, but this is divine timing. This is divine steps, like destiny, fate. Okay, what's written in your life plan based on your soul, what you came into this life to experience, to live, to understand. That is where you're at right now. You're transitioning from one phase to a more ego-centered lifestyle, to more ego-centered life, ego-driven, into a path that is more soul-based. And that's always going to be a huge transition, because the ego never wants to let go. The ego is comfortable in what it knows, even if what it knows is fraught with challenges and scarcity and um, uh, the word is not coming to me, but like the solar plexus chakra, a self-esteem where you're lacking self-esteem, you struggle with your inner power and your inner light. Even if you're in that space in your life, the ego still will not let it go, want to let it go, because it is comfortable there. It feels safe there because it knows it. So as we transition into this new soul-led life, the ego is grasping, desperately grasping to hang on to what it knows. And so you're going to be overcome with fears and with scarcity mindset and all sorts of things, whatever, you've experienced that your soul is wanting you to let go of. That's the process that you're going through right now. And this is the bottom of the card, or the bottom of the deck card. Magic. Magic is unfolding. You have to trust. That is what's going to get you through this time, is trusting that magic is unfolding. And that is the hardest thing to do. And I'm right there with you, coming from a space of, a horrible childhood. It's hard for you to trust. It's hard for you to trust in good things. But that is what the universe is asking for you to do. Trusting in magic, trusting in beautiful things and miracles. Magic and miracles. How fantastic is that? Okay, guys. What else can we... Faith. Have faith. Yep. Take a leap of faith. So for some of you, this might be forcing yourself to take a leap of faith, forcing yourself to trust that what you're feeling is aligned, even if you can't see where you're falling. Okay. So, if it's stepping toward love, a new love interest or something, a new person or a new relationship, take that leap of faith, take that step. If you have a job offer and you're not sure how it's going to pan out, if you are moving to another state or another country, you're being asked to have faith, to take that step, but you have to feel that it's right inside. You have to feel, yes, there's going to be fears surrounding it, and that's the ego trying to hold on. But if you can step outside of the fear, step above the fear and say, okay, how could this possibly make me feel? How do I genuinely feel about this? And it's connecting with your heart chakra, connecting actually with your throat chakra, because that is kind of the voice of your soul. So if you can connect to those two chakras, you can have a better understanding of where you're coming from and what your soul is wanting you to learn and to feel and to understand, versus what your ego is trying to grasp onto and feel safe within. Okay. And if you can access your Akashic records, this would be a perfect opportunity to do that, to kind of connect and see how you're feeling from that higher self level, that higher self perspective. If this is a safe move, if this is a safe decision, ask for signs too. I have had a decision that I've been trying to make. And I mean, it's obviously not a major life decision. It's just kind of taking a leap of faith on something. And I have asked my guides to give me a sign. It is the strangest sign ever, but I've asked for a sign and I've seen it. So ask your guides for signs. If this is a good move, if this is what you're truly feeling, are you genuinely feeling that this is the right move, or is it your ego? Ask your guides for signs. Okay. The other card that came up is be present. And this is asking you to stay present in the moment. Block out the fears of the past, or I'm sorry, the fears of the future, and everything that you have learned from the past, like the fears that have been created from your past, block those out. How do you feel right now? How does it feel right now? That is what you're being asked to focus on, because that is the more accurate representation. Because if you're looking too much into the future, your ego is going to step in and be like, I don't think so. And if you're coming from the past, the ego is your past. The ego is based on your past. And so it's going to step up and say, oh, hell no. No. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to get hurt. You're going to, fail. And so block those out. It's all about the present. Okay. Lost in a fog. That could be very accurate. you might be feeling absolutely lost, like you don't know where you're going. You can't see the future, obviously, but you feel lost in the past. You're in this void. It is a void period between your past life and your future life. And it is a uncomfortable as point to be in. I get it. I understand. Sit with it. As uncomfortable as that is, sit with it. And when you feel those emotions, when you allow those emotions to come up within you, when you allow yourself to understand and work through the emotions, that's when you're starting to integrate the lessons of the past into your future life. That integration is incredibly important. Okay, that is probably one reason I've been sick for the last month, is to force me to sit and not be my normal chaotic self, to sit with my emotions. And so if you have been sick, if you have been forced to stay in one spot, maybe you got injured, maybe you lost a job, maybe a relationship has ended, and you're forced to sit without knowing where to go from here, that lost in a fog space is the void. That is the void. And you are integrating what you have learned from your previous phase. Sorry, my nose is itching. My guides are talking to me. That's what you have learned from your previous phase has to be integrated before you can step into the new life. And what my guides are very adamantly saying is that your new life is in preparation, okay? It is being worked on. It is being finessed for you to step into with beautiful ease. And I'm getting chills because it's such a beautiful step, and it's going to be a beautiful step, and it's going to feel amazing. Okay. Storm. So in my deck, I do have a card, Ego versus Soul. It's somewhere in here. But in that card, the ego is red and the soul is blue, which kind of translates to your chakras, your throat chakra, the blue, the voice, and the root chakra with, our need for stability, and that often drives the ego. So this card is saying that there is something coming in, there is something blowing in. Maybe you're in the midst of this storm. Sorry. Where the ego is being blown away. You have, as I was saying, the ego is it's our lessons from the past, but it's kind of our protector. It kind of keeps us safe. And so the ego is never a bad thing. The ego has always been in place to keep us safe, to tell us, hey, that's a hot pan, don't touch it. Okay, you learn from past fears, and so you integrate that. So the ego is there to protect us. It serves a very important purpose. But when it stops us from stepping into a life that we are destined to live, that's where we have to say, okay, ego, your job is done. Thank you. Take a step back. We are going to take it from here. So this storm is coming in to blow the ego out of the way so our soul can step up and speak and live and guide us to where we need to be on our soul's path instead of being run by our ego. So if you're in this void period, or you're going through, kind of like a tower moment in tarot, everything's falling apart, everything's going to shit, and you're like, what's going on? It is the ego being taken away. It is the ego being yanked out of your life so your soul can step up and speak and direct and live. Okay. Let's take two more cards. Guidance for the collective, guides. Walled heart. Okay. So again, I'm feeling this is the ego. The ego stepping up. And, we have this faith card. This is where you need to take your leap of faith, okay? You're scared of falling. You're scared of climbing that fence and falling. So your ego steps up. We have the three chakras represented here. And these are triggers, okay? So your triggers for safety, for scarcity, for lack. Okay, you have triggers for your self-esteem. I'm not good enough. You have triggers for your inner child, your sacral chakra. All these triggers might be coming up right now, and it's to keep this heart locked. It's to keep your heart closed off. But your heart is the connection to your soul. You cannot close your heart off. Otherwise, you are going to lose that divine connection to who you are outside of your human body. On the other side, you can see all the, the greens and the upper chakras, and that's where you're trying to get to. That's where you need to get through. You have to step out of this space of keeping your heart closed off by allowing these triggers to rule you. And now triggers are being triggered extensively, okay? There are situations that are cropping up. So if you find yourself angry, emotional, freaking out about one thing or another, it is these triggers that are being set off. Look at to where the triggers originate from. What feelings inside of you are being triggered? And I'm going to say this, if any of you have watched my videos before, I've talked about my feelings pie, which is basically, if you look at a pie, you have the top hard crust shell, which is all kind of the outer emotions. Those are our triggers. We get angry, we get volatile, we get violent, we get sad. But underneath is where the pie filling is. That's where the gooey emotions are, okay? Those triggers are triggered from disappointment, from grief, from loss, from sadness, from fear, okay? Those are all the deeper emotions that you need to get underneath to figure out why you're being triggered and what emotions they're pointing to. And that's oftentimes when we can understand where the inner child was hurt, and that's where we can do our healing work. But in order to get under that, you have to unlock the heart. You have to understand that what's happening on the outside are the outside triggers, the outer triggers. The triggers are not the actual feelings underneath. And so as you move through this process, especially in this void process, or if you're going through a tower moment, you're going to be triggered. You're going to be feeling these emotions, and it's all to unlock that heart, to figure out why you're reacting the way you're reacting, to how you can heal those deeper emotions. Okay, I spoke a lot about that, sorry. Okay, one last card, guys. Guides, one last card, final card. Control. This is a good one. Okay, and this takes us back to flow, too. You are trying to control the situation. It is easier to control than to release. That is that scary part. When you release and just have to have faith that things are going to work out how they're supposed to work out, that is terrifying. It is so much easier to try to control, but you're being asked to not. Both of these cards are telling you to go with the flow. Don't push it. Don't fight it. Don't try to control. Step back. The cards will fall as they fall. That's what they're saying. Let the cards fall as they fall. Okay? The universe is setting this all up for you. You have to step back. Okay? Try not to spend too much time on distractions. I have absolutely been trying to distract myself with my magazine and my cards. But when I do those, I'm really connected into my intuition. So if there's a distraction that you can do that actually connects you to your intuition, that's what they're guiding you to do. So avoid things, like being on your phone, immersing yourself in your work. Distract yourself with things that are going to help you connect to your intuition. Before I screwed up my knee, I used to love to run. And so when I could run, I could just kind of be in my surroundings. So if exercise helps you do that, yes, you can meditate, all the normal spiritual things. I'm a type A person, so I can't sit still very well. So if you're like me, then do something that keeps you busy, keeps you active, but that allows you to connect with your intuition, because huge downloads are coming in, okay? Pay attention to angel numbers, pay attention to signs, pay attention to synchronicities. If you are in your phone, if you are heavily drinking or, addicted to shopping or any other kind of addictions, things like that, that's going to disconnect you from your intuition. And that's where this information, these downloads are coming in. So pay very close attention to how you are distracting yourself. They're not saying distractions are bad, just keep the type of distractions focused on things that are going to help you stay aligned with the divine, aligned with your path, aligned with your feelings, especially your feelings, because your emotions are going to be guiding you through this process. So that's incredibly important. Okay, I am going to sign off there. I'm sending everyone love. I hope you have a beautiful Thursday, and I will be back on here soon.